When an 18-year-old girl is murdered, generally the police think that it was the work of a man. But sometimes it is not like this. Sometimes the killer is much more frightening and strange. On June 7, 1992, an 80-year-old girl named Katie was murdered in England. She was stabbed 30 to 32 times, and most of these blows were on her chest and hips. Kitty was left almost naked, and there was no clue of the killer. The only clue was that the killer was a man, and that he had killed the girl when he raped her. But do you think the police was right? This case has not been solved for 2 years and remains a mystery. No one has any idea who could be responsible for the murder. Until 2 years later, a girl is arrested for stabbing her classmate in school. This girl's name is Sharon, and after she stabbed, she is sentenced to 2 years in prison. During his imprisonment, he confesses to the murder of Kitty. The strange thing is that both of these stabbings were done in 7 years. When Kitty was stabbed, Sharon was only 12 years old. 2 years later, on the same date, he stabbed his second victim. After Sharon confesses to murdering Kitty, her diary is found and they realize that this kid really killed an 18-year-old girl. The Sharpton case is very famous for 2 reasons. One is that the dates of the attacks were accurate, and the second is that the belief of the 12-year-old killer was very scary for people. But who was Sharon? Sharon was born in Belize. Belize is a small country in Central America that used to be part of England. Sharon was raised by her mother and stepfather, and after some time they moved to England together, and her mother and stepfather separated. Sharon is temporarily taken from her family by the government. Sharon was recently adopted by a family in school. The principal and teachers are satisfied with Sharon's behavior, but over time, her behavior changes and she becomes an attention-loving girl who constantly annoys others. Katie was a happy girl who had just finished high school and was learning hairdressing. At night, Jovan goes to have fun and meets Sharon and his friends to get back to his plot. He asks Sharon to accompany him to the house, and they talk to each other on the way. It wasn't too far when he attacked Kitty with a knife. At first, he didn't hit hard, but after a while, he hit hard. But research says that most of the wounds were after Kitty died. The strangest part of the story is that even though Sharon had a small body, she dragged Kitty's body to the ground for a long distance and hit her again every minute. Because the evidence was not accurate and generally there is a bully in those cases, the police assumed that the person who was taller and bigger than Kitty attacked and dragged her to the ground. By default, the police were looking for the killers of men. The police did not even think that the killer was 12 years old. The second attempt on Sharon's weddle was like this. He imprisoned one of his classmates in the bathroom and attacked him with a knife and plunged the knife into his classmate's lung. Sharon, who is in prison, is very strong and proud, and he keeps talking to the rest of the prisoners about what he had done, and that's what he exposed. When the police starts interrogating Sharon, in her first confession, Sharon says that 2 of her boyfriends were there and attacked Katie together. When they ask the names of the boys, Sharon says that she does not remember. In the second confession, he says that no one was with me, and in the third confession, he says that someone was with me, and because his words were contradictory, no one understands what happened. Sharon already had a history of brutal violence. Once he tried to kill a dog with a shovel. Sharon had a fight with someone in the bar and the night she killed Katie, and she was extremely nervous. And she was also nervous on the way. As we said, the police will find Sharon's diary. Now I want you to read a few pages. I want to kill you again, to get the maximum pleasure from your scream. I see the devil in my dreams at night. Sometimes I see the devil in these too. And then I realize myself, and my heart is full of fear. Because of these sentences, Sharon was nicknamed the Devil's Daughter. After consulting with several psychologists, they realized that Sharon experiences the feeling of sexual satisfaction by opening a knife to people. He also fights in prison and tries to punish others. Sharon went to the hospital under the mental health law and was admitted to the mental hospital on June 16, 1998, where it was diagnosed that she has a dissociative disorder. In this mental disorder, a person behaves strangely, and it shows itself periodically and seasonally. Sharon was sentenced to 12 years in prison in 1997. The judge declares that this girl is harmful to society and should not be released until several reliable sources. If they don't announce his recovery, he has no right to return to society. Probably Sharon will never see the color of freedom. The detective who was responsible for the investigation of Sharon says that the most obvious feeling of this girl is that she's cold and there is no emotional reaction in her behavior. But a strange thing happened in 2001. 20-year-old Sharon fell in love with one of the patients in the mental hospital. These two meet each other during their break and fall in love. The boy's name is Lane. He is also a murderer. He killed his mother at the age of 17. Migran decided to get married, and under the supervision of the hospital manager, they were arranged to marry each other in the hospital. Kathy's father tells the media that I know my daughter's killer is getting married, but I am not happy at all. First of all, I said that this murderer should not live. But Sharon gets married, although her life is under surveillance, but her situation is better than Kathy's family. We would like you to share your opinions with us.